Guess what, y'all? I passed. I passed the Golden Standard exam in wealth management. I passed the Certified Financial Planner exam. Yay me! Like, pat on the back for sure. I nearly lost my mind studying, trying to pass this exam. But we got through it, and hopefully I never have to take another exam in my life, because I don't want to do that again. That was nuts. It was a 6-hour exam, so 3 hours for the exam, and then you get a 40-minute lunch, and then you go back and take another 3-hour exam. So it's a 7-hour day essentially. So it was brutal. I spent 2.5 months studying and put in over 450 hours during that time. All I was doing was studying. I would wake up, study, have lunch, study, dinner, study, and then go to bed, and then do that the next day. It was crazy. And as I was studying for the exam, it really solidified in me that for the majority of us, like 95% of us, we don't need to hire someone to manage our money. Our money's just not that complicated, right? So, which means that for the majority of us, you are smart enough to put in a little bit of time, and you're smart enough to manage your own wealth. I promise, I promise, I promise. I spent over 450 hours studying for the CFP exam, and it solidified in me that I have mastered financial knowledge to move money for the wealthiest in the US, right? So a very small percentage of people. Hopefully I never have to use this cert. I don't have any interest in like having financial planning clients or anything like that, but I do have an interest in getting this knowledge to you. So please take this knowledge that's in my head and please take it. All right. Again, most of us don't need a CFP to start building wealth. I didn't become a financial planner to stay in the industry. I did it because I didn't know what to do with my money either. I was like, I'm so lost. I don't know what to do with my money. But at the time I worked for a university, so I was like, I'll just take some classes. And they had CFP courses for me to take, and they were free. And then it like just snowballed into me like being in the wealth management industry. But even when I started taking courses, even when I got into the industry, there was always this quiet part in me, this deep knowing that I needed to bring this knowledge back to my community. So even before I knew how, I knew why. And now that I've passed, here's all the study material I went through. You can't even see it all. It goes like 3 more books down, and I can't lift them for you. If anyone's studying for the CFP or is interested in just like looking through these books or interested in the knowledge, and y'all want these textbooks, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the main textbooks, and then the exam study courses. Y'all can have it. Priority to someone who's in the Bay Area, because it's gonna be super expensive to ship this out, but I mean, I'll do it. But if you want it, you can pick this up. There's also some calculators here for you. Anyways, as I was studying for the CFP exam, it really solidified in me that this knowledge is super important. And a lot of the knowledge that I was learning, like, it wouldn't pertain to a lot of people. I'm like, because their money's just not complicated. But there's a few things that I took away that I'm like, this is very important for everybody, and not everybody may feel that way right at the beginning. So I wanted to share some with you. So here's some takeaways from the exam that actually matter. Number 1, estate planning. So estate planning isn't just for the rich, okay? Estate planning sounds fancy, but it's a basic responsibility, okay? Estate planning is showing your people you love them, all right? Let's not leave a financial nightmare behind when we pass, because we're all going to eventually pass away. So estate planning is essentially saying, where will my money go when I pass away? You just want to have it seamless and clean and not messy. Because the messier it is, the more expensive it is to figure it out. And who's paying for it? You, with your accounts. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to add beneficiaries to your account. So if you got a 401k, 403b, I want you to make sure you go in there and add a beneficiary. Who's getting that account when you pass? Number 2, I want you to put a payable on death, a POD, to your checking and savings account, right? So go ahead. You might have to contact the bank itself to see how you can do that. Sometimes it's pretty seamless when you go in and it says to add like a POD. Go ahead and do that. If you own property, first of all, if you own property in this economy, like congratulations, like it's nuts out here. But if you own property, look into a transfer on death deed. Okay, so this is something you can contact your county that you're in for paperwork and they can help you with that. Okay, so if you got a house, once you pass away, who's getting your home? Again, if you don't have this done, then it goes to the state to figure it out. The state will look at your assets and they're like, okay, who's next in line to get your stuff? And they're not doing this for free, okay? You're paying for it with your assets. And I've seen clean estate planning in practice. Like working in wealth management, I've had clients pass and they've had their estate planning done. Beneficiaries listed, trusts were up to date, and the money transfers were so seamless. Okay. Sure, we still had to do paperwork. We still had to open the accounts. We still had to coordinate things. But because we had clear instructions and legal paperwork telling us that we were allowed to do this, the state didn't have to come in and step in and like divvy up stuff. No courts, no legal fees, no long delays. We were just like, okay, open up these accounts, push the money. Seamless. That's the gift you want to give your family. Number 2 thing that's super important. Our medical directives and power of attorney matter. So emergencies are emotional. The last thing your people need is legal stress. The last thing your loved ones need when you are in a hospital bed and you are medically incapacitated, the last thing they need is to try to figure out what do you want to happen, how do they handle your finances, and you don't want them to guess at stuff, right? And you don't want them to have to jump through hoops trying to get access to things. And I used to think this stuff was only for when you're older, but life and death events, they happen every day. So make sure someone you trust has legal authority to make medical or financial decisions for you if you can't. So one form, one decision can save your family so much confusion. Okay? Number 3, takeaway from studying from the CFP exam. Index funds and ETFs are still the real MVP, okay? This is something I know you've heard me say before, and it's still true. Don't try to beat the market. Even the pros fail at this, okay? Working in wealth management, I've seen more than a few people try to outsmart the market. I know one person who lost about $100,000 trying to time their trades. And I'm not saying it's impossible to do this, okay? I've seen it work, but only a small percentage of people can do it consistently, right? Like 10% or less. There's studies on this. So if you're going to try to beat the market, you've got to be right twice. You've got to know when to come into the market and you've got to know when to come out of the market. All right. And that's hard to do. Like doing one is hard, let alone doing both. Even the professionals get it wrong, and they get it wrong a lot. So unless you've got a Bloomberg terminal and a research team, just be the market. Okay. Look at index funds, ETFs. They're simple. They're powerful. They're low cost. Don't overcomplicate it. And lucky for you, I did a whole breakdown on this of my favorite index funds. So check out that video and I'll link it here for you to check out. Okay, number 4 takeaway from me putting over 450 hours studying in for the CFP exam. Whole life insurance, for most of us, usually not worth it. At its core, insurance is for protection, not investing. Whole life policies, they're usually overpriced. A $200,000 policy could cost you around $2,000 per year, sometimes more. And what you're paying for are like the extra bells and whistles, right? Like the cash value, the guaranteed death benefit, the lifetime coverage. It sounds nice, but it comes with a steep price tag. And for the age-old question, is whole life insurance a scam? Honestly, it depends. Usually it is. When I was 23, I was sold a garbage whole life policy for $1,800 a year, and I had no dependents. Really? I had no business spending the little money I had at the time on a whole life policy. Yeah, that one felt like a scam. I surrendered the policy. But I also made a video on that you guys can check out here, and I'll link it. So when it comes to whole life insurance, most of us don't really need it. Usually a term life policy is going to be a better choice. But of course it depends on what you're looking for. But a 20-year term policy, you could get like a $500,000 death benefit for maybe $20 a month if you're young and healthy. So that's more affordable. It's more targeted to what an insurance policy is, right? It's for insurance, not investments. So it's no bells and whistles, no fluff. But there could be a time where a whole life policy could make sense. And it's usually more if you have like a child that's going to be dependent on you for their life, for the rest of their life, right? So maybe if they're a disabled child. So that's something you could look into. Number 5. Takeaway I had when I was studying for the CFP exam. Feeling overwhelmed is normal. Money can be very scary. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel like you're behind or like everyone else has it figured out. I still remember my first job after college. We were in a town hall meeting and HR was going over our benefits. And they were explaining like retirement accounts and HSA. And I remember sitting there feeling so lost. I swear I felt like I was the only one who didn't understand what was happening. Everyone was like nodding along. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, wait, am I dumb? And the answer is no. And neither are you, okay? And now I know most people are confused when it comes to money. We're just too embarrassed to say it out loud. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed, confused, or behind, you're not alone, not by any means. Most people feel broke, right? You're not behind. You're just getting started, and that's powerful. So yes, I passed the CFP exam. I'm so happy. I'm never taken another exam in my life. But what matters most aren't the letters that I'll be able to put after my name. You don't have to be a professional to start building wealth. You just need the willingness to start. That's it. Want guidance that's real, relatable, and heart-centered from someone who's been on both sides of the journey? Well, subscribe. We'll have a new video weekly, so come back for another one. See ya. Bye, loves.